Hello and welcome back to the Expansion Chamber, episode 19. It's been a while, but we are back, better than ever, maybe. And I'm joined by two awesome guests, Brett of Nightwood Guns and Larp. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves a little bit?
I'm Brett, YouTube channel Nightwood Guns, review guns, shoot some guns, everything guns. That's me.
I'm Larp. I'm a hoarder, as you can see. I'm also a firearms instructor, and you can find me on Instagram at Larperatorkid.
Fantastic. So we are back for the new year. Got some things going on. One of the big things, obviously, is SHOT Show, but even bigger than that is all the epic winning we have been seeing. The deportations, for one, just fantastic. And the fact that we finally actually have a president and not a resident in the White House. Anyone have any thoughts on that and how that's going to kind of affect us, not only as citizens, but as gun-owning citizens?
I'm already seeing quite a bit of an effect, especially with the gangs in Aurora. They're actually cracking down on those, which is pretty wonderful. I'm glad to see that something is being done in the great state of Colorado. So love that.
Gun stores are looking pretty empty, like no one's buying stuff because there's no panic right now. So I think the Trump slump is incoming.
So probably, honestly, a good thing for us because we're probably going to see gun stores trying to actually sell stuff more because the prices. It was like the home market where people wanted guns so bad they were just hiking the prices up and people were buying them. I saw some gun stores where they wanted like $800 for like a basic Glock, and I'm like, the hell. So I think we're going to see some normalization. I think also ammo is probably going to go back down. It already started to go back down because what's funny is I use SG ammo. That's my main ammo. I'm not sponsored or anything. Just where I buy ammo because it's pretty consistent where you can get the prices instead of like using Ammo Seek, and it's a whole fucking thing. But on SG ammo, they had bought a bunch of ammo anticipating, the potential Kamala Harris DEI win. And when she lost, they sold a bunch of ammo really cheap. So I got ammo for super cheap, like a bunch of it. So I'm hoping to see that trend continue where ammo's going to go down. Because I remember last year at SHOT Show, a couple of ammo companies were telling me that they're anticipating, especially depending on how the election was going to look, of ammo prices going to like $300 again for a case of 9mm. So it's good to see that improvement.
And of course, it's worth mentioning that right now and the next 4 years are going to be the most vulnerable we have been in a long time for gun laws passing, because historically, gun laws pass under Republican leadership.
Yep.
Just because people get complacent or people want to compromise, no one is fighting to get elected right now. So we are extremely vulnerable. So we just have to make sure that we do not get complacent when it comes to supporting and promoting pro Second Amendment organizations, like FPC and GOA.
100%. I mean, that's the big thing I think is, it looks like we might have a better run of Trump this time, as he did not have like much of those like swamp rhino picks that actually were like pushing gun control and told him to just listen to the NRA and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping with things being different this time, where it seems like he learned from his last administration, that maybe we're not going to get any of those issues that we had during the previous administration that led to actual new gun laws. And it looks like you have people who are listening, maybe not Trump himself, but other people in administration, about rolling back the ATF or disbanding the ATF, especially because they're not even listening to Trump's new rules about DEI. So,
yeah, the good news is Donald Trump Jr. He is so into Second Amendment and gun stuff that he flew from the inauguration to be at SHOT Show. Like, he was not going to miss it no matter what.
well, I saw him at SHOT Show walking around last year.
Yeah, me too. And he was there this year too. He just showed up. I think it was on Thursday. Is when he showed up. But he wasn't going to miss it for the world. Literally, inauguration, boom, off to SHOT Show. So at the very least, there are voices for Daddy Trump to listen to, instead, that are not the NRA.
Yes.
Because same thing with Reagan in '86 with the Hughes Amendment.
Yeah.
And the NRA basically said, "Do it, bro." And same thing with Trump's bump stock ban. It was hint, hint, wink, wink. You should look at these bump stocks. So hopefully everyone learned their lesson there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Wayne LaPierre finally being kicked out, I feel like the NRA is kind of nearing, like, it's fizzling out a little bit. Like, I just don't see the same push for the NRA like I used to. I feel like even the diehard NRA members I knew are like, there's something fishy going on here at the NRA. I mean, hell, even Coleon Noir broke ties with them for one reason or another. Maybe they just weren't paying him enough anymore to make his reviews.
They lost funding.
Yes.
No more
Yep.
mansions and yachts.
Yes. The slush fund ran out.
Yeah, and no more hot Russian spies egging them on.
No, it's that organization is it's such a shame because it used to be like an actual gun rights organization, and they have done good stuff. Like the Bruin case was an NRA thing.
Yeah, the thing is, the NRA has always ebbed and flowed. Like, there are highs and lows. It's done a lot of good. It's also inflicted damage, irreparable damage, I would argue. So, I mean, it's one of those things. It's a gray area, but I think that the damage they've done, it has caught up with them, and the good that they've done. And now there are enough places like Gun Owners of America, Firearm Policy Coalition, that are doing great work too, where the NRA, as necessary as it once was.
Yep. Now, Kyle, any additional thoughts on the subject?
No, I'm just very hopeful. I'm hoping that we don't get another bump stock style thing to pass through, because it's happened before. Who's to say it can't happen again?
Absolutely.
Hopefully he learned his lesson, and it sounds like he has, and it sounds like it's going to go our way. But it's also kind of wishy-washy with how the ATF is not listening to the president of the United States with all that DEI stuff. It'll be interesting to see what else they can try and just kind of shoo aside and try and keep doing their own thing. So hopefully we get some actual reform there.
No, yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
Oh, no, I'm optimistic. I really am. I think that lessons were learned. I just think that right now the ATF and the gun stuff is not the number one priority for this administration. Number one priority is let's get the economy back on track and let's get, illegal immigrants out the door. That's kind of the top two right now. And I think as we see, 1, 2, 3 years pass, hopefully we will make some progress on the Hearing Protection Act, National Concealed Carry Reciprocity, that kind of stuff. But I'm sure I don't need to explain to anyone listening to this why those issues haven't been solved in the past when we had an opportunity. And it's because if they remain issues, they remain strong points to get these people reelected. So if they remain unsolved, people have something they can run on.
Yeah, I think the nomination of Hegseth, or I don't know how to say his name correctly,
Yeah,
but
Hegseth.
The fact that it was a tie-breaking vote with J.D. Vance breaking it in the Senate, and then you had you had Mitch McConnell, and then the one, I can't remember her name, that one Senate, there was like 3 Republicans that voted against him. I think those people need to be primaried out. We need to get rid of them. We need to ditch Cocaine Mitch, and if anyone remembers that, and it definitely working on that, because I think they're identifying themselves. A lot of people are like, oh, look how all these other nominees were voted 90 to 1 or something. And I'm like, yeah, because they were freaking swamp monsters that were part of the system. So I think we are seeing these changes, and I'm hoping that, if like the Department of Government Efficiency and things like that are going to come in, I think we are going to see a general decrease in government, I hope. Maybe increase in some ways, probably in the Homeland Security apparatus, at least in the short term, but hopefully for good use and not like Patriot Act stuff. And then hopefully seeing scaling back of other government agencies, FBI, ATF, IRS, things like that. I'm more excited for the ERS, is where I'm looking forward to. The External Revenue Service.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be an ERS agent.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
You want to tax other countries. No, so I think we're looking hopeful there. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about, honestly, on it. I feel like we've talked about this ad nauseum in the past as well, of just the idea that, hey, yes, we do have Trump back, and things are looking really good in just the past week. We're literally on week 2, and things have been really good. Like, promises made, promises kept, 100%. I just think, we have to keep him accountable. Kind of like when he nominated that one awful Florida sheriff for attorney general, and then kind of kick that person out. Now, Pam Bondi isn't much better, to be fair. She was pro-red flag laws in Florida, but maybe she's learned her lesson as well, and she's at least better than the COVID Nazi sheriff that originally from Tampa or wherever that Trump had nominated. So, and the thing is, like, it's not like he's held to not be elected again, but yet he still listened when people said, hey, we don't like what you're doing here. And I think the whole MAGA movement this time is a little more willing to tell Trump they don't like what he's doing because the movement has grown so much versus when it was more people that were more just diehard Trump supporters, I think.
Wasn't it Matt Gaetz before Pam Bondi? Or was there someone in between?
It was supposed to be Matt Gaetz. Well, it was Matt Gaetz, then it was that Florida sheriff. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I
and
forget
then
his
it
name.
became Pam Bondi. And then Matt Gaetz, because they brought up the thing from 4 years ago where supposedly he's a pedophile or whatever, which has Obama and the Biden DOJ was like, yeah, there's nothing here. So I don't know why it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But of course, that was enough for especially all of the senators that don't like him to be like, oh, we won't vote for him now. So he withdrew his nomination.
Yeah.
He would have been a great attorney general.
Pam Bondi, the thing that concerns me is she is not passionate about 2A stuff. So she's agnostic, leaning towards I don't understand why people need guns kind of thing, right? That's the attitude that she kind of strikes me as having with her comments on red flag laws. That's concerning. Like, I don't think she would inflict any damage, but she's not going to actively pursue Second Amendment related causes or going after people, holding, like the ATF accountable or whatever. If that's not going to be a passion of hers. So that is, at least in our arena, kind of a downside, but it certainly could have been a lot worse.
No, I think, and plus she hasn't even been nominated yet. So who knows if it's going to happen, or maybe we'll end up getting someone better. I don't know. That's the only, honestly, pick where I'm seeing like there could be someone better here.
Yeah.
Because I think every other pick seems to be pretty solid.
Yeah, could be worse. She'll probably make it through, but it is what it is.
I think overall, though, this administration is better than the previous, and I think that does show a lot more. Well, the previous Trump administration,
oh, okay.
obviously better. Obviously, anything's better than the previous administration. Yeah. That was a dumpster fire and a half. So I mean, because Trump did already get rid of the gun violence safety office or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was honestly, I think that's something we don't want to miss. That was a pretty big step for 2A because while they weren't like actively enforcing laws or anything. It was an entire office of bureaucrats designed to find ways to strip you of your Second Amendment rights under the guise of stopping violence. So I think the fact that he disbanded that office does show he's going to be more pro-2A Trump than we saw 8 years ago now or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
So now, like I said, I think we've talked about this enough. It's only been a few minutes in, but we'll get to the big thing, more gun industry related, that just concluded, and that is SHOT Show. Now, me and Kyle were not at SHOT Show. I wasn't able to make it this year, but Brett was at SHOT Show. So, yes, he has the fancy badge to prove it. So, Brett, what did you see at SHOT Show? What trends did you see in the industry? Do you think the industry is improving, that we're innovating, or that it's the same stale garbage?
I would say overall stale garbage. Right now, everybody is hopping on the 2011 bandwagon. I think people can recognize a trend when it's happening. And it's funny because Staccato is steering that trend in a different direction, right as everyone is hopping on trying to get a piece of the pie, the popularity of the 2011. But if you look at online feedback and online sentiment, there is 2011 fatigue happening. People are getting sick and tired of 2011s. Like, I love them, but honestly, I was good with Staccato and Bull Armory. Like as options, I was good there. I didn't need anything else. And you know what? I think the Turkish stuff coming along, like T-Sauce, offering us like a $500 entry point, all forged parts, most of the time works. Like we were good. We were solid. Between those three, we the bases were covered. And then if you want to go higher, there's Atlas. But now you have Palmetto State Armory and Fusion, and like everybody is. I mean, at least Stealth Arms with the Platypus offered something new for a minute. Until everyone else
Fusion and now Staccato
has
caught up. And I know a lot of people are saying Staccato copied Stealth Arms. I really don't think they did.
I think they might have. I think that making a 2011 that can run Glock mags reliably was impossible until Stealth Arms did it. And then it's one of those things, I think it just may have unlocked. I'm sure Staccato already had a project in the works, but then they could take one that worked and look at it. And then they were able to move forward, bring it forward sooner, whatever. But I mean, Stealth Arms really did move the needle.
Well, because I remember I watched like what they're like. They have like an hour-long video where like the guy in charge of the project of the HD was talking, And he was like, yeah, I went out to military units and stuff. He said like, it was like 7 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And they're all like, we want Glock mags. We want it to be drop safe. We don't want a grip safety. Like we don't want ambi controls, all these things. So I think it just took them a while to get there. And they saw that, I think the big thing is not just that it could be done, but that there was a market for it. Truly, like, because you don't want to make a gun that's just for military and law enforcement, because you can't, that's not enough sales. You still want the consumer market. And it seems like Staccato is not a brand that only wants to focus on contracts. They do want to arm the consumer as well, which I like. So the fact is I think the platypus, the biggest thing, maybe it showed them how to do it. I don't know. But I think the biggest thing they did is showed that there was a market for it, that people actually wanted a 2011 that took Glock mags. And then he said, all right, let's bring it to another level. Let's make it drop safe. Let's give it ambi controls. Because it kind of, to me, is like someone took the platypus and the Oracle arms and combined them into one. For those who don't know, the Oracle 2A 2311 or whatever, it's a 2011 that takes 320 mags, but it's not really a 2011 is the thing, or it's really not a 1911. Like the platypus is very much a 1911 at its core, and it takes Glock mags. The Oracle gun is like a fish that takes 320 mags. Like it's kind of ugly, which whatever. That's not the biggest thing, but it feels a lot more like a hammer fired 320 holding it than a actual 2011. I know they had some new stuff at SHOT Show that you saw, Brett, right?
Yeah. But I just want to say this before I forget. If I were building a 2011 around a different magazine, I 100% would have done the Beretta 92 mag, because with Mech-Gar mags, you already have 18 round flush fit, reliable magazines, and like you would have a smaller grip. You wouldn't have this fat grip. But like you said, it boils down to the market, and there's not a market for Beretta 92 mag 2011s there, but there is clearly a market for Glock mag 2011s. But because of that, you have the fatter magazine, since it's a polymer mag, and you're stuck dealing with that. But shooting the Staccato at range day at SHOT Show, they did a great job. But if you are a person who has hands smaller than a medium-sized glove, it's just not going to work for you. If you have short fingers, it's just not going to work for you still.
Did it feel bigger or smaller than a standard Staccato?
Feel the same. It too close to call, I would say. I would say nearly imperceptible, maybe a little smaller just because of the grip safety delete. But it's one of those things where me just holding it, I didn't have another Staccato there to compare it to, but it felt about the same to me.
Like, would you say, like, now one thing, like for me, with always getting to the mag and slide release on a 2011, do you feel like the mag release is easier to get to?
So I know like Michelle Viscuzzi and some of the other Staccato reps were talking about, the extended slide stop on it and like how she can reach it. I don't think that that's something that you could reliably do in a hurry, at least under stress, right? Like if you really, you can finally hit it, but I think it's still going to be a support thumb reload.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is probably using my dominant index finger.
Yeah, because of ambi controls, right?
Yeah. So that's the big thing is ambi. So like even if like I have decent thumbs, but I don't know if I'll be able to reach it on like a Staccato. Like even with the extended one.
I can't. I mean, it's not extended, but
the
I
other
would
one's
imagine
extended. So I mean, like you're almost there on it. It seems
it's close, and I've got fairly decent sized paws.
Yeah.
Because this is where I'm at. So the proper way to shoot a 1911 or 2011 is with your thumb on the thumb safety, and look at how far away I am from that. Like it's, and the thing is on the Staccato HD, if I like right here, I would just be on the corner of it. So it's not something that I would do reliably, because I might miss it. I might not be able to put enough pressure on just the corner of it. So I would do either the ambi or just do what I always do.
Did you feel like the mag release was easier to get to? Because it doesn't look longer or bigger.
I would say it felt the same.
Okay.
I mean, granted, they literally load you up with 5 rounds and you shoot it. And I shot the 4.5 and the 4 for. Oh no, they loaded actually Staccato. They had money bags. They loaded me up with 10 rounds each. So I got 20 rounds through it. Very limited experience, but the experience was good.
Yeah, I mean, I what I wish was that they like I haven't been to range day, but from everything I hear from people, they're very stingy with ammo. Like there's a couple. Who was it? I remember in someone's video they're like, "Oh yeah, this company let us shoot like multiple mags to their gun."
It also, if you are media, more so like an influencer if you have a channel
Yep.
or an Instagram page.
Here's your video.
Yes. And
It's two
they'll.
Bretts.
Oh my God. So
Trying to
if
find your
you're an
staccato video.
influencer or have a YouTube channel or anything, and you tell them, like I don't, but if you tell them, they will give you more rounds to get footage. But I don't know. I don't really roll like that. It's going to be like past the halfway point. Yeah, there you go.
So we got
That's the 4.5 with the sight tracker, the island, which makes it shoot really smooth, having the non-reciprocating weight at the end of the barrel there. That thing shot as well as that's the best you can get without having a ported or comped barrel, hands down. This little guy, I should have shot this one first because this one felt snappy compared to the 4.5, but it's only because I shot it second. It cycles faster than the 4.5, but it was a little jumpier than the 4.5.
yeah, I'll probably end up grabbing this when it comes out.
That's the best like do everything gun for sure because the recoil impulse, it's sharper than the 4.5, but the return to zero is fast and aggressive. So you can still run it fast. You just have to ride the lightning more so than with the 4.5.
Yeah, my only thing is obviously with anything new, I mean they're not SIG per se, but I feel like any company at this point that releases something new, you're a beta tester.
Yeah.
Like unless it's basically a new Glock, which is basically just the same thing as always. Although even the new Glocks had issues. The 40, 49 or whatever was choking on you last year at SHOT Show.
Yes, I remember it very well.
So I don't. Oh, here we go. I don't really have, not that I have low hopes, but I'm like I kind of anticipate there's going to be an issue of some sort. Weren't you saying that the 4.5 was like choking?
That's what I heard. So apparently, they had like 10 of them, 10 of each at that Prairie Fire Staccato range day. The one that I shot ran fine the whole time I was at the booth. I probably watched like 12 people shoot it, and it ran 100%. But in the comments, someone else who was there, because the Prairie Fire Staccato range day was open to the public. So a lot of people went to that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like
anyone. Anyone at all, not even SHOT Show attendees.
You just needed to register, yeah, but it was open to the public. Anybody could go. And the one that I was with ran the whole time, but someone in the comments said that they were there and one of the 10 was just choking all day long. So I think there's a reason the 4.5 is coming out. Is it in fall?
Let's see.
It's later than the 4 because the 4 was squared away. I didn't hear about a single issue with the 4.
To Staccato's website. Let's find out, guys. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Here we go. So this is available. So this video is going to probably go live Wednesday. So we're filming this on Monday. So it's coming out tomorrow. Spring 25 is what this says.
A spring, yeah. So I think there's a reason that one they're waiting on it because I think they have some stuff to iron out. Because one of them was having problems, and the question is why.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing is looks like the one you're shooting at range day had the cuts.
Yeah.
Here. Is that like beneficial? Like, is that worth getting? Because I'm assuming the stock one doesn't have that.
I'm going to tell you that it makes 0.1% difference and is nearly imperceptible to human hands. So essentially, I mean, they're just lightning cuts. So it, in theory, makes the slide cycle faster. I think if you did a blind test, 999,000 out of, however many, like no one would know on a blind test.
Because LARP, you own a 2011 or two, right?
A few.
Do you have any of like the X cuts or whatever they're called?
None of my. Well, let me grab my little competition one here. I think it might have some kind of. It has some very very light cuts in it here, but this is pre Staccato. This was a STI.
DVC.
Yep, DVCP. And same thing like with this between any of my other Staccatos. No difference. Same thing on all of my other pistols. Any of the pistols that have slide cuts versus the ones that don't. Never noticed.
So more of a cosmetic thing that costs more money.
Pretty much. It's also a really lovely place for all of your pocket lint to get in, which doesn't really ever cause an issue. But when you do go to finally clean your carry gun that you've been neglecting to clean for months on end, you find a little bit of belly button lint in there, which is always a fun, pleasant surprise when you bust that thing open.
Yeah, because the X-Serrations, at least on a P, are an extra $250.
Save $250.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the cheapest, most stock model possible because as long as there's an optics cut, I'm happy. Because you have STI and staccatos, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's the same thing, but
they are the same, but they're different. Same, different.
do you have an XC as well, or just the DVCP?
No, I have shot XCs, but I don't currently have one in my collection.
Do you feel like they're the same as the DVCP, or do you feel like it's?
They are incredibly close. My DVCP had way more rounds through it compared to the XC. So maybe my older one ran a little bit smoother and is a little more broken in, but not anything to write home about.
Do you guys like? I own no staccatos. I mostly own Glocks, and then this hunk of trash right here. Do you guys feel at all like abandoned by staccato, or like I've kind of bought into an ecosystem now, and now they're moving on to something else? Like, how do you guys feel as staccato STI owners?
I don't care. Especially because like I'm a Bull Armory guy, so I'm already in like a different magazine ecosystem, so I don't care. But I do have a Staccato XC. Right now I have like 8 2011s that take 2011 mags. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't think Staccato is abandoning it. I think that they are going to evaluate over the years how sales compare between this new line that they're going to be releasing and their old one. So honestly, I think they're making an attempt to steer the industry, and we will see how sales do on this one. Because, I mean, they've dropped so much money on marketing. They have to move a lot of product for this to be worth investing further into. And I think they will.
Yeah, I wonder what their lead time is going to look like for the HDs. Because, like, it says available the 28th, but, like, right now, if I go to buy a P, let's see, if I just go to the standard P, no optic, no weapon light, no additional magazines, estimated 30 to 60 days.
Yeah.
So, because I don't know, you guys both know more about Staccato than I do. Do they make their guns, or do they have guns pre-made, or is each gun made to order?
They're constantly making guns.
Gotcha. Because the HD seems like it's going to have a lot of demand.
Yeah.
So will they be able to keep up with the demand that they are generating for the HD is my concern.
I think they will. I think they'll be able to, because this isn't their first rodeo. They know the buzz. It was the only gun at SHOT Show that the masses cared about.
Was the Staccato booth just like constantly crazy?
Oh yeah, it was insane. It was like that, and the Hollow Sun booth were the two booths at SHOT Show that were just shoulder to shoulder people the entire show.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember last year the Staccato booth was pretty busy, and they didn't even really have anything. I think they just had the CS or whatever, the little slim gun.
It was the C.
I feel like that gun's kind of died pretty quickly.
So the problem is a very limited holster compatibility right now. Like Tier 1 Concealed isn't making a holster for the Staccato.
I think it's really, as far as the only one I've really seen is Tenacore.
Yeah,
like name brand holster company. Which Tenacore is nice, but like I've used them, but I prefer other things. I prefer Tier 1 or Raven or something.
I mean, there's always your like boutique holster guys like QVO Tactical. They'll make a holster for just about any flavor of 2011 you could ever want. But yeah, it's a definitely cornered market there. There's not a lot of people out there providing holsters.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, the biggest thing that makes or break a gun is aftermarket support. Like, I'm sure, I wouldn't be surprised if some companies like at tomorrow are going to start selling holsters for the HD. If Tier 1 Concealed was smart, because I know they seem to do some of the stuff with Staccato, I think. Or maybe in the past they did. But you'd think like Tier 1, like normally like TRX Arms is pretty good about getting holsters out for new guns. I don't know how they will for this, because they're normally not super big in the 2011s.
Well, and I don't know this. This is speculation, but it seems to me that Staccato is kind of turning into SIG. Do you know how stuff ends up on the SIG store? They basically
like the online store. Or?
Yeah, so the SIG store is online. That's where they want you to do all of your SIG shopping. And if you're someone who's selling, let's say magwells, right, that fit P320s, and you want your product featured in the SIG store, you have to sign your soul away. It is like the most out of your favor contract you could ever sign, where basically they just completely own your ass and can do whatever they want with you. But it's like the best way to guarantee sales for the product, because the masses, not guys like us that are like insane nerdy enthusiasts that
we're
know
gonna
everything.
research everything.
Yeah, but the masses who are, I mean, who else would buy a P320, right? That they're going to go to the SIG store to buy accessories. And if you're making a magwell or a trigger or grips or whatever, or slides, being on the SIG store is a big deal. I think Staccato might be moving in that direction. And I'm specifically talking about holsters, where I think that Staccato might not want to send guns out to some companies so that they can make holsters if they're not going to be featured and collaborate in the Staccato shop.
Yeah, because here I'll put it up on the screen here. So they actually have, it's interesting, the host mounting for the new ones is there. You can actually buy it now. So you can buy your plates already. I mean, it is the night before, so
yeah,
who knows when that popped up. But yeah, all the Tenacore holsters here.
TXC, Tenacore, and the question is, what contract did they sign to be on the Staccato shop?
Wilder Tactical, Farland Incog, TXC, pistols from Speed Bees, another Tenacore. Let's see what else we got here.
So what I'm saying is, like, why would Staccato send guns out to guys like Tier 1 Concealed or any other holster company that would compete with stuff that's featured in their shop? So basically, a company like Tier 1 Concealed, which is a small company that hand makes holsters, like, you expect them to drop $3,000 on every single 2011 that comes out every year. That's a steep price to pay.
Yeah, I mean, a gun like that, I feel like would make sense for them. I'm sure someone there, like, you can write it off as a business expense. You're getting the latest, greatest gun anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, that's going to add up to like $50,000 a year in guns.
Yeah, if you're buying every gun that comes out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
so now I know a lot of these holster companies know each other, and maybe they share guns and stuff. I don't know.
I mean, they're competitors, so I don't know.
Yeah, but no, that's the biggest thing is the support. Like that new, we were talking about it before the actual show started. The Chris Chimera, like that thing's. I mean, it's probably gonna die like at release anyways because it's ugly and silly and has a bunch of features no one asked for.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can make a Glock grip angle, so why don't I just buy a Glock? Anyways, the point is, I don't think it's gonna have any aftermarket support. And so it's going to die. I think a lot of guns die because they don't have aftermarket support. Like the Hudson H9. You bought one of those, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. I fell for the hype. I acquired a Daniel H9, not the Hudson, but the Daniel. There is a difference.
Well, it's mostly completely redesigned, anyways. Is what they.
Everything's been redesigned, and it's going to be great and new. And this is what the Hudson should have been to begin with. And it only has one part that's interchangeable with the old one, and they've already had to recall. Which this one I'm currently waiting for an email back, and I have been for a few weeks now from Daniel to be able to send this off again. It's already been sent off once for repair because the firing pin just decided to detonate within the first week of owning this thing. So,
great.
Not leaving a great taste in my mouth.
What's it being recalled for?
They had issues with barrels, and Daniel's not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you what the issue is. They're just going to say it's eligible for recall. But they did have issues with keyholing out of these brand new barrels at like 10 yards. Among another, there was one other issue that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but mainly the keyholing thing.
That's what you want out of your pistol that's aimed at duty and self-defense.
Yeah, especially for this price point. I don't remember exactly what this thing went for, but I want to say it was in that like $1,500 ballpark, well above a brand new Glock. But the hype was all a lie, and I feel betrayed by the industry. $12.99. Okay, so still above a Glock, but maybe not the $1,500 that I was talking about.
But still a lot of money when that's at that point I could buy a lot of other things.
You wouldn't expect to have to send in your new $1,200, $1,300 pistol. That's something you'd expect out of like
a year.
Maybe you could expect that out of like a $300 hunk of junk, like a little Ruger LCP or whatever, but not out of something like this.
I don't know. Springfield 1911s and 2011s. That's always a coin flip in that price range.
I remember the Prodigy I reviewed wasn't even mine; it was a buddy's. I know. There's a lot of gun tubers out there say, "Oh, I'm just borrowing a buddy's gun," and really, it's just the company sent it to them. They don't want to admit it. But I actually had a buddy who would buy like all the new guns for like a while, and a lot of the reviews, like the Echelon, the Prodigy, the P2P Pro, I did a review on a bunch of them. He just had the gun and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a video?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I did the video on the Prodigy, and the safety freaking fell off on me and broke. It was no longer. I had to take the ambi safety out because it just kept malfunctioning. So it's about the same price as the H9. So you get what you pay for, I guess.
But that's a good point that you make. I know we were talking about this like yesterday or a couple of days ago, and like there's no obligation for a YouTuber to tell you that they were sent a gun. There's zero obligation. Like there's no legal obligation to do that. It's just like, are they going to tell you or are they not?
Like a moral obligation.
Yeah, and once you can peek, behind the curtain and see who the Wizard of Oz really is, it's just you can see. Like I can look at channels and look at stuff and know exactly what's going on. Like I know that dude's not borrowing that gun. I know for a fact that he was sent that gun.
Well, and it's like it's like really, I don't want to say suspicious, but when you hear that I'm borrowing a gun and it's a big channel, it's one thing if like I'm a smaller channel, right? I don't know if I can say that about you anymore, Brett, but I'm a smaller channel. And if I'm borrowing a gun from someone, I'm more than likely borrowing a gun from someone. Like I do not imagine until I probably hit at least like 50,000 subscribers, if that even happens. But with my track record of reviews, I doubt a company's going to send me a gun unless it's like a bulletproof gun. So like this I bought, this Pro X, which I regret. But the amount of times where I saw certain people, I'm not going to call anyone out specifically, just trying to be a little bit polite here. But the amount of times I'd see videos from people like, yeah, a buddy of mine bought one of these. I'm like, did they though? Did they, or did the company send it to you?
Well, then there are ones where they'll tell you that they were sent a gun, and I know which companies have non-disparage agreements that you have to sign and which ones don't. So SIG's a big one. Shadow Systems is another one. Like there are some that don't. Like for example, Kimber started sending me stuff. I didn't have to sign a thing. I'm
really surprised Kimber sent you anything.
I talked with them for a year until I convinced them trust an honest channel, because that's people actually buy, like they'll see the marketing video from the bigger channel, right? The like Leviathan.
We'll see Coleon Noir's marketing video.
Right. And people will see that, and then they will type in Kimber 2K11 review or Kimber 2K11 honest review. And then they'll start watching those reviews because it's a lot of money. So
like honestly, I notice a lot of videos that get a decent amount of views on some products sometimes are the guy recording vertical video for like 10 minutes in his garage talking about an issue you had of a gun or something like that. And that's kind of where I try and hover a little more, not going super overproduced. Not saying your videos aren't necessarily overproduced or anything either, but I'm not like Garantham, I would say, is overproduced at this point. Coleon Noir is overproduced. TFB TV, things like that, where there's a really high production value. And the thing is, when you go to that high production value, there is a ultimate requirement to make every video profitable and to maintain relationships with companies.
Yeah.
Right.
There's absolutely that disconnect between like the producer and the viewer. Like it's like if you compare it to like Twitch streams or anything like that, the small streamer, they'll actually talk to you and engage with the chat. But once you blow up to some large scale production, you're not having that small scale like producer to viewer interaction anymore. And there's kind of like the viewers feel that disconnect too. They know that there's that disconnect there.
Yeah, like I'm still a fairly small channel. If people make a request for a video, I make that video eventually. Like someone wanted me to do a belt setup video, like the belt I use at the range, which I honestly don't have much interest in doing that because it's just what I use. But someone asked for it, so I filmed it, and I'm in the process of editing it, and I'll be uploading it because someone asked for it. I'm like, gives me a video to make. I got some other stuff in the pipeline I got to manage with that, and just having the time. But when I have the time and I'm able to, why not?
The number one thing from SHOT Show that people wanted to see a review of was the Canik MC9 Prime.
The made in the USA one, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
And I don't care, but enough people, like I'm talking probably 100 people, were like, I want to see what you think of the Prime. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, now I'm going to do it. Because you guys want to see it.
Amazon Prime.
Exactly.
You should totally use the Amazon Prime logo in your thumbnail.
Oh, I should. You're right. In fact, I should get it Cerakoted, like
Does
Amazon.
it look like like an Amazon package of the Prime like era?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh god. No, that gun's interesting, but I'm concerned because all the other MC9s kind of had problems
Oh yeah,
in
mine.
that
I
phase.
mean, yeah.
My buddy actually I ended up not making a video on it. And I think I may have like used it as a prop on the podcast before last year or the year before. I think it was last year he bought it. He bought maybe the year before. He bought the Mete, like the competition one, but it was the Mete thing.
Yeah.
So it had the optic system of a slimline pistol, and it wouldn't accept any optics. Like the way the screw pattern wasn't, absolute disaster. Like it didn't come off the right screws. Nothing worked. It had these plastic plates that were just. I gave up. I literally gave up mounting an optic on it, and I just gave up on shooting it because I was like, you know what? I can't put an optic on this thing. I don't even want to shoot it. I just gave it back to him, and I think he ended up selling it because, like, there's some things like I can go pretty hard into figuring out how if there's an issue with something, I normally can fix it. I am a Glock armor after all, but there's some times where I just if I have enough issues with a gun, I just don't want to deal with it. And I'm normally pretty stubborn about things, but I'll be like I'm stubborn about. I've been buying weighted back straps and recoil systems trying to make this thing perform. But there's some things where I'm like I'm done. I don't care. Just I don't want to mess with it anymore.
You fell down the Walther PDP rabbit hole. Where why does everyone like this gun? I'll get one to try it out, and you get it, and you're like, well, maybe it's because people add this, and then you get the brass backstrap, and then you get the brass magwell, and then you put a compensator on it, and then you're putting a light on it.
Well, so this is the one that comes comped, the Pro X with the PMM comp from the factory. But I got a DPM recoil system, a lock grips backstrap, and a Taylor Freelance magwell. So this is like 5 ounces of weight back here. So it actually balances the weight of the gun very nicely.
Yeah.
And then obviously a DPM, which always is fantastic. The trigger's nice, like nice to find wall and like a glass rod break.
Yeah.
However, Brett and I have learned some information about the triggers on these guns. Maybe we'll get to that later. I will be doing a video on that pretty soon. Might be the video coming out later this week. But basically, there could be some legal and safety issues with this trigger in this gun. And this is completely stock in terms of the trigger in this gun. So I'll save that just because I want to, use that for the clout or whatever. But yeah, there's some concerns with the PDP and their dynamic performance trigger.
And then if you want to get a PDP that shoots like a normal gun out of the box without having to do that, you can drop $1,600 on the steel frame. And then it shoots like a stock Glock with a good trigger.
It's ridiculous. What's ridiculous is you're spending $1,600 and they can't put their nice trigger in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
now that is just with the compact, I believe. I think the full size steel frame has the DPT in it, but
gotcha.
The compact, obviously designed for carry.
You want to make sure it does not have a high risk of unintentional discharges.
Yep, straight out of the owner's manual.
Yes. I see you have a Walther there, Larp.
Yeah, I fell down the same rabbit hole, got all the fancy springs and whatnot for it, and still don't love it. Still prefer a Glock 17.
Well, all you have to do is send it off to Monsoon Tactical, and then it will be a tie with your stock Glock 17 if you tossed a better trigger in it.
Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this thing's probably performing slightly better than my stock Glock. And this gun is $1,000, and I invested another $250 and a quarter of its value back into it to give it that performance.
I mean, what the PDP has is the trigger, which is not like it's a revolutionary trigger. It's just a really good trigger.
Yeah, it's a nice trigger.
So it's like people fell for the marketing hype. That Walther went hard with the marketing on the PDP.
Their first video was honestly really good. Like they did good on it.
Absolutely.
And then the pinky ledge, it helps you get your red dot.
Yep. And basically it has the trigger, and people just add all of this shit to the PDP to try to get it to have the same recoil impulse as like an M&P or a Glock.
Yeah.
Just to have that trigger when they could have just gotten an M&P, put an Apex in it, and then they would have had something even better for half the price.
The top comments I see about the PDP, other than people just mad that I don't like it in my videos, is, oh, well, you need a steel guide rod. I'm like, so I have to put a massive weight at the end of my gun for it to work?
Yep, and you need the long stroke guide rod.
You need the long steel guide rod. You need a brass backstrap, a brass magwell, and then you tie a 100-pound dumbbell to it at the end, and then no recoil.
Yeah, and then compensate it or port it, and then
Yes.
you're good.
So
That was going to be the
this,
next thing I'm going to do to this. I was going to get it
this
ported.
single port PMM comp really doesn't even do much, to be honest. Like it does a decent amount, I will say. Like this versus a stock PDP, world of difference. But that's really not saying much. I think aren't they doing this now with the F series? Didn't you see that at SHOT Show?
Yeah. LARP, is that a 5-inch that you have?
It's the big boy.
Okay, so send that off to Monsoon Tactical and have them do the fucking Grandmaster. I forgot F word. The Grandmaster package. That will literally just make it the flattest shooting gun on the planet. That is the dopest porting package on the planet right now. Is the Monsoon Tactical Grandmaster. I recommend it. Is 10 out of 10 the best one.
Will do. I'll go get it done and then I'll report back to you.
Yep. Yeah, you might keep it after that.
To be fair, I feel like
Good. I'm hoping something can save this. I'm
Yeah.
hoping.
I also am hoping. I'm working on a follow-up video of this where I'm trying to find the best ammo possible to shoot through this thing so it performs the best, to give it the best advantage possible. Like everyone thinks I'm biased against Walther. If I was biased against Walther, I would not have bought I would not own 2 PDPs and then tested a third. Like I don't know. Maybe I just hate myself. But
I got no beef with Walther. Like Walther's a great company. It's when there's so much competition and so many different options on the market, it's impossible to not compare them. And there are some dudes that will, buy the PDP. That's the gun that they pick, and they're going to stick with it. They can't afford other guns, and then they're going to get emotional about it. But guys like us, we shoot everything, and it's like you shoot an M&P where the only thing you've done to it is put an Apex trigger in it. And then you shoot it next to a Walther PDP that you've put an extra $1,000 into, and you're like, this just doesn't make sense.
No, it's if you don't shoot anything else, or the other thing is, it's not that they only shoot the Walther. It's that every gun they shoot, they can't shoot the gun anyways.
That's a good point.
So the thing is, the Walther trigger is so nice. Everyone's like, I'm just the most accurate for my Walther. I'm like, yeah, because it has a nice trigger. So that helps compensate for the fact you don't know how to shoot. And you don't notice what recoil is because you go to 1 shot per second ranges. And you never notice the difference in recoil between a 50 cal and a 9mm.
And I also want to say this, just in Feather and Walter's cap, the PDPs have phenomenal mechanical accuracy. Like if you just lock it down and shoot it, the mechanical accuracy is phenomenal compared to something like an M&P, where it's like now I'm at the point where I throw Apex barrels in my M&Ps to achieve that great mechanical accuracy.
The barrel
that
lockup is really good. Like there's no wobble at all in this barrel at all.
Yep.
Versus, like, Glocks, you normally have some wobble. M&Ps, you have some wobble.
Yep.
I've got some Glocks with a lot of wobble that I should probably be.
Also, my 19 that I've had for, I don't know, 8 years. I don't know, a long period of time at this point. It was my first Glock. The barrel, probably somewhere around 50,000 rounds, I had to replace the barrel because it was literally just slop. So I ended up putting a Gen 5 barrel in it, and now it has really nice lockup again. But that's the one thing about Glocks is you do lose your barrel lockup over time, and you will. I don't want to see you'll see a massive degradation in accuracy, but you will see some degradation in accuracy, especially when you're going for like really accurate shots.
But that's the crazy thing is everyone's keeping their Glocks around long enough to find out these problems.
Yes.
Nobody's doing that with any other guns.
No one. No, I mean, I'm probably like 2,000 rounds with this, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, but enough to say I haven't had any actual problems. So I think whatever issues the PDP had in the past, they fixed most of those. Because both Brett and I had the same issue with our PDPs, and we still don't know what the actual problem was. Whether it was the barrel, the magazine, the extract, like who knows. And that's the problem with a lot of companies is they will not just tell you we had this problem with our gun and we have corrected it. Like the only thing of the PDP that they admitted they fixed was the optic system because it's too obvious to not say anything because they literally changed the entire optic system.
Well, and they had to tell you because you had to buy plates.
Yeah.
So like there was no getting around it. They couldn't do a stealth fix. They had to tell you.
But they did a stealth fix with the out of battery issue where if your gun was out of battery and you pressed the trigger and then the gun went back in the battery, the trigger wouldn't work. They fixed it on this one. This is a 2024 PDP. The 2023s, like halfway through, they fixed it. But at the 2022 PDP I originally reviewed, if you push the gun out of battery and press the trigger, and then the gun went back into battery. So is yours to do that?
So speaking of awful guns, like what's another awful gun?
There's so many to talk about. We talked about the Chimera already. That thing looked kind of ugly.
Yeah.
I don't know anything at shot or that anyone saw on the Instagrams or the social medias or in person.
The Keltec
Oh
5.7.
God. Oh
Um,
God, that thing is disgusting. Let's
honestly,
pull it up.
honestly, like it shot really well. It was a lot of fun. Like I enjoyed shooting it, and it was literally all fun and games until it malfunctioned. And then you realize when you can't strip the magazine, it's really hard to clear a malfunction. Um, so I know when it malfunctioned on us at range day, uh, the rep took it from us, tried to clear it. He couldn't clear it, had to get a second rep, and it took 2 dudes 2 minutes to clear the malfunction. Um, and this is a gun marketed for concealed carry and self defense, specifically towards women and the elderly. So that's why I'm so harsh on it. See, compact concealed carry pistol. If that thing malfunctions, congratulations, you died.
Sorry, I'm just dying.
I mean, to be
Right
fair,
now.
I think the thought process there is more of a New York reload kind of thing with that
Yep.
guy.
You just carry a second one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's what I do with my little pocket rocket. You know, like most people carry a spare mag. Nah, I've got my normal concealed carry, and then I've got the pocket rocket, man.
I've got my ankle pocket rocket. Same thing though. I will say this is a surprisingly nice gun.
Oh
The
yeah,
Bodyguard
It rocks.
2.0.
incredibly
This thing
underrated.
shoots super flat for what it is. Like the bore axis is insanely low. Like this, it honestly is kind of like the H9. It's literally they took the MNP and they made it smaller.
Now the gun has disappeared.
Yeah, like they took the MNP and they just made it smaller, and it does everything you like about the MNP. The trigger is actually really nice. Resets a little bit much, but whatever. It's a fucking baby 380 gun. But everything you liked about the M&P is what this gun basically has it, and it performs well. It's pretty affordable. So if you want a pocket gun, if you want a gun that's literally just a bodyguard, it's not a go to war gun. It's not something you'd go to like confront someone with. This is a great little option.
Now you just spent a good while boasting about how great this thing is. Do you have any complaints about the Bodyguard 2.0?
The
Because I
sights.
do. Okay, so we're on the same page there. The sights are lackluster.
I know. So I actually bought 2 of these. Both of them, I did not have any of the accuracy issues people were talking, where the sights were off out of the box. My sights seem to be in place. Like I checked that before going to the range of both of them. But what's annoying is the rear notch is just a little bit too big.
It's so wide. It's so wide.
Let's see if
I
we can...
had that issue and spent a good while knocking them
I know
back.
it looks like the gun's aimed at me, but I promise, guys, it's not. Like it's just a lot of space in that rear sight. And it's nice, and it's really not a huge deal when you're shooting this. It'd be cool if you could put a red dot on it, but it literally wouldn't fit. There's no red dot.
It's so goofy, and I can't think of any like real reason as to why anyone would want to, because this
Why
is
not?
a get off me gun. You're not going to be trying to smoke a dude at like 25 plus with this thing.
This thing does shoot at 25 yards.
It can.
Although it will not knock down steel plates consistently.
Gee, I wonder why that might be.
But you have the 10 rounder and the 12 rounder, so I really can't complain for its purpose of being a small little pocket, backup gun.
I have one complaint, and that is they completely removed the grip texture from the side panel. There's like this stripe.
Yes,
that
I
goes
will
up.
say that. Yeah, there is not much. The front to back texture is actually really good.
Yeah.
But no, this side is super smooth.
And
I think it's so small it's not a huge issue.
yeah,
Like when I shoot it, I don't really have an issue maintaining my grip just because it's so small. My hand literally sucks up the gun. It does have some nice like index points here that are textured.
yeah.
And then the magazine release is like honestly aggressively textured. Here,
I put tape on all of the things.
Yeah.
All
New tape?
of the things. All of the things. This one could probably use some new tape.
Yeah, anything that doesn't have an aggressive grip texture, or if it's too aggressive. So if there's no texture or it's too aggressive, it gets tape.
Yep. Yeah, have you ever tried to appendix carry an M&P 2.0? Boy,
Yeah.
howdy. Ooh.
You know what? If you do it long enough, your skin adapts, and then you're fine.
So
You just got a
my
callus there.
Yeah.
my 48, which is in the other room, so I'm not going to grab it. I had it stippled by a local guy, and he had like a new tip he was trying. It is the most aggressive grip texture ever. Like you hold it and it hurts. It hurts to shoot it at the range. But I like that because if I end up using it for self-defense, my hands are sweaty, bloody, whatever. I only have 2 mags on me. I'm not shooting a whole range day. So however much I need to shoot, that's it. And what's good is it's not leaving my hand. It is a little aggressive, and it has put holes in my. That's the one thing about appendix carry no one tells you. You will put holes in your shirts. Like all of my t-shirts have little holes. Hell, even this shirt that I've worn maybe 3 times, you can see like there's some little holes like right here, just from appendix carry. Like it tears up your damn shirts. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
No,
it used to happen to me, and now it doesn't, and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's like if I change my wardrobe, because now I wear a lot of stuff like this, like these golf polos. So
Yeah.
there's more of a drape to it, so I don't think it's rubbing on the grip texture. And I think I started carrying. I moved the clips on my holsters up, so the gun rides lower.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I stopped putting holes in my shirts because of that.
I run my gun pretty high in the holster. Like normally, like I want enough clearance to fully grip my gun.
Yeah.
I know some people like to run it lower, but it's a balance between performance and comfort.
I run it as low as I can while still being able to get a full grip on it.
Yeah.
In the holster. Like I get it as low as I can. It's mostly just because I try to conceal. I don't try to. I conceal a full size gun. So I just have to run it closer to my belt line in order to conceal it. And that trade-off is worth it to me, where I can carry a gun that's capable of doing more while still concealing it. So there's really, like I said, as low as I can get a full grip on it. But it is what it is. Everything's a trade-off.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even with the new staccato, there's going to be some trade-offs. I think, and kind of earlier when I was asking guys, do you feel like staccato abandoned you? I think it was kind of not a rhetorical question because I did want an answer, but a question where I kind of knew what the answer was going to be. Like, I don't care, and I don't think staccato is, because there's so many guns still, staccatos included, that use the 2011 magazine pattern. But it makes sense if looking at from an outsider perspective at staccato, and I don't even own one, but from what I've seen recently, if I'm staccato, I'm like, hey, these Mechar mags are cheaper, they're probably easier to produce for them. They're more reliable. It takes Glock magazines. Now, maybe that's not as good for them because people won't buy as many magazines from them, so I don't know how that business model works. But if I was them, I'd think, hey, this new gun that has ambi controls, that has the deleted grip safety, all this stuff. The only disadvantage, obviously, being the trigger can only get so light. So I don't know if eventually they'll try and re-engineer the trigger or maybe make a non-drop safe variant as like an XC or like a competition gun, but go fully in that realm. Because I will say, from what and you can confirm or deny this, Brett, is the front to back distance on the HD less than a standard?
It might be just because of the grip safety delete, but it's not something that was immediately obvious to me without comparing them directly.
Because also I feel a 2011 mag and a Glock magazine front to back is not as wide or long. Because 2011 mags, from what I understand, they're designed around the 45.
Yeah.
Even though they're not running 45.
I think that's a 10 mil. I think I have a Glock mag here.
Here we go. Larp's got us. So what is that? What is the front to back? Yeah. So like,
where's my calipers?
Dude, look at that rich boy with that MBX mag. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, this one's MBX. I have an actual staccato. If you'd rather the actual.
I found MBX. I've heard MBX mags don't work as well in a lot of guns, or are kind of picky.
It depends. The staccato magazines are tuned, but let's see. So front to back, we've got 34.7 millimeters on the staccato mag.
Right, 34.7.
And then on the Glock, we've got 33.0.
Okay, so like a millimeter of difference.
Yeah,
like imperceptible in human hands for the most part.
Because I have heard that it was different, so I don't know if because the accommodation for the magazine's different or the way it goes in. Because like the angle of the magazine entering, I know has to be different because the way the Glock mag feeds. Like a big thing I'm seeing about people be like, oh, it's not going to have the same grip angle as a 1911. Does it have the same grip angle?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
It has a 2011 grip angle still, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, I don't care personally. I like the Glock grip angle. So what I thought staccato should have done, and I think was a missed opportunity, is why they didn't put back straps on it that are interchangeable, like sliding interchangeable rear back straps, when there is no rear grip safety anymore, which is why normally 2011s can't have that. I feel like that makes sense, especially trying to make this gun more for the masses.
Yeah, I think as far as grip angle goes, that makes sense. But the gun is already on the fatter side.
Gotcha.
just like literally as thin as they could make those grip walls and still be durable, so that you can run it over with a truck without no mag and it'll be fine. That's as small as they can make it, and it's what would normally be like a large size backstrap on a normal gun. So because 2011s are fat, it is what it is.
Well, because you should have like the main spring housing that goes down all the way down the bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think these gun manufacturers have the next 5, 6, 8, 10 years planned out, and things can change based on market demand. But I'm assuming with the Staccato HD series, we're going to see a comped model. We're going to see a longer model like an XL. We're going to see G19 length grips down the line.
That I would be more excited for than anything.
Probably, I mean, for sure, a 43X magazine model. Like, they have the next 10 years planned out, and I think they want to steer the duty gun market in that direction. So I think that's what the next 6 years looks like for Staccato.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing would be that Glock 19 mag length.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think the CS was kind of a swing and a miss, or the C2, or what is it?
The CS and the C.
Yeah. I like, to me personally, I don't know what their numbers look like, but I just don't see a lot of people buying them. I see a lot of people complaining about the holster compatibility.
I see a lot of people selling them. Like, a lot of people, well, first of all, everyone's selling their Staccatos. They're dumping them right now. But the ones that I see most frequently dumped is the CS. That's the one I see everywhere.
Yeah, because there's a full size or compact grip for both of them. Yeah, the C, because they used to have a C, and they replaced it with this.
Yeah, so the C used to be just a 1911. It was a single stack 1911 magazine, 9mm.
Which with a 4-inch commander slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what the HD has. Is the standard HD is the 4-inch commander slide.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't just do the P length slide, which is a 4
4.25.
Yeah.
Or 4.15, I think, right? No, is it 4.25?
Let's see. Because it looks.
I think it's 4.25.
4.4.
Okay. So just under 4.5.
Yeah, I'm surprised for the HDP wasn't just the length of the HD, because I will say a 4-inch slide's kind of short.
Yeah, my favorite slide length is a 4.25. That's what my favorite bull armories are.
The Glock 17 is about a 4.25. I think that's the best length. I think this is about a 4.25. Or this might be a 4-inch. I don't know. Right here. But I think a 4.25 is pretty much ideal. So why they went with that and then the sight block one, which I know it has the weight at the end, but I don't know. It just seems kind of the 4.5. I just visually don't like it. I guess that's my complaint, which doesn't really mean much at the end of the day. One, it's just my complaint, but also it's just visually. It's not. These guns aren't just to look cool. But I hope they make more like a P length one, and then an XC variant would be cool.
Yep.
Having that island comp, because I think that's what everyone wants is comps on guns now.
Yes. Yep. But the thing is, they want everyone. They know that if they release the comped model, that's what people would buy. But if they release a non-comp model first, they're going to get double dippers that are impatient, that want the new Staccato, and then they're like, "Oh crap! Now there's a comped one. I have to get that too." Instead of if they announced them all, everyone would only be buying the comped model, and the normal model would be sitting there. They're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, it may make sense. That's why they're releasing the P4 and then they're releasing the 4.5.
Yep.
Like the staggered release. I mean, I'm sure it's probably a production thing too, but it's probably also, hey, you can buy this gun and then you can buy this gun.
Yep.
To me, I'm probably going to buy that and never buy another Staccato for a long time. Not because I don't like Staccatos, but because unlike LARP, I'm not a gun hoarder to that extreme.
I mean, even so, I've got my P and my DVCP, and I don't
even the other 2011s or no?
Not currently. I used to have a XL, and I got rid of it.
Gotcha.
But I think these are the only Staccatos that I'm going to be getting or needing for a little while, unless I hear something about the new ones being incredibly game changing, and that I just have to have one. Then I might acquire one.
They're incredibly game changing. You just have to have one.
Well, it's too soon to tell for sure.
When I get mine, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. But as far as Staccatos, these are all I'm gonna need for a while.
Because I know Brett, you used to have a P as well.
Yeah, I used to have a P and a C2, and I got rid of both of them, and now the only Staccato I own is an XC. And I have
Was the C2 a 2011 or 1911?
It was a 2011, but with a compact grip.
Okay. Which they got rid of that as well, I think.
No, that's still in production, but I think they're going to be phasing it out. but that's the rumor at least. But they still make it.
Okay.
But now I have like 5 bull armories, I think, and I just prefer those. I prefer the trigger, I prefer the grip texture, I prefer the recoil impulse, I prefer the like slide serrations. I just prefer pretty much everything about the bull armories. Even the mags, they hold one more round than a 2011 mag in the same size mag. So also the feed lips aren't as sensitive, so they're more durable to dropping.
Well, that was the big thing of why I never really, as much as I wanted one, I never actually pulled the trigger on a 2011. I shot some, I've messed around with them, but I'm like, these magazines are just a pain in the ass, and they're so expensive.
Although, little piece of news, Checkmate just perfected the 2011 magazine. At their booth at SHOT Show, they are now going to be making flush fit 19 round 2011 mags. And they did a bunch of stuff. They changed the follower. They increased the front wall of the magazine. So you know how sometimes when you're shooting a 2011 and you take the magazine out and the top round will be halfway out or it will just pop out. They raised that front lip of the magazine so that doesn't happen anymore. It's a really impressive mag. So
Does it keep the slide lock feature, or did they remove that?
No, it's slide lock. Yep. And
Well,
I think
what's the MSRP for that? Do you remember?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't ask. I was like too excited about it that I forgot. But I think they said that they're available now, so you might even be able to find them.
You said 19 rounds.
Yeah, Checkmate 2011 mag. It's like I forget what it's called. It's like their new Pro Elite. I don't know, something like that.
See,
everyone's like all excited.
$66.
Okay.
You found it?
I believe so. Select capacity. Oh, this isn't their flush fit 20 or 19 rounder. I don't know.
Here it is. Okay, the double stack 1911 UHC ultra high capacity.
84.
Yep. So it's $85. At least MSRP. Yeah, this is so dope. 19 round 9mm flush fit, 126mm mag with 50% increase in last round lockback performance. Duty rated reliability, competition grade performance.
126 millimeters. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and they also tubes are polished inside and out to eliminate drag. Followers design featuring Checkmate's anti-friction, self-lubricating. All the fancy words, the buzzwords. Polymer for exceptional feed and function. So yeah, those magazines really excited me. So they're gonna send me a few of those because
man, why didn't you open with this? This might have been the coolest thing at SHOT.
Yeah, I know. I should have.
Well, and then on their website, sorry, I cut you off there. Yeah. They're advertising a polymer magazine.
Really?
So if you go right on the page for the double stack UHC, here I'll show it my screen. My nose is running here. This looks like a polymer magazine to me. It looks like sure.
I think that's just an X-ray of their. Well, actually, maybe it is. Who knows? Something big is coming.
It looks like a polymer magazine.
I have no idea.
It looks like the what's the company that makes the clear mags? ETC?
ETS?
ETS? That makes the polymer mags that suck.
Well, Magpul's making the T-Mag now. Haven't you heard?
Oh, they're AR mag. I mean, Magpul mags are good. I like their Glock P mags. I use those all the time. But this is nice, but it's $84 versus the magazine for the HD. Not Checkmate. Who's making it?
Metgar.
Metgar. Now, I don't know if this is true because this popped up a while ago and it's sold out. But this is $18. So
that would be nuts. How much is a normal Glock mag that's polymer?
It's like 30-ish.
So on Glock's website, a magazine.
Like, I wonder if that price is wholesale or something on that Metgar.
It could be a wholesale website. Let's see, the Mag Shack, $24.99. Which that's not bad still.
Yeah, for reliable magazines, that's
back when Big Daddy Unlimited was still a thing. If anyone remembers that,
oh yeah,
I bought I've probably so if every time I'd order from them, because I'd order ammo, guns, all sorts of stuff, I'd order a couple of these PMags from Magpul because they were $9.99. And I probably have like 100 of these now that I got throughout the years of these PMags.
See, it's got guys like you are who Staccato is trying to reach right now. I have 100 Glock mags.
Yeah, well, and that's just these. I probably have about 100 regular Glock mags too.
Yes, you have 200 Glock mags.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Is like, why would I want to go buy $80 magazines when I already own all the magazines I need? Yes, obviously there's the nice Mekgar ones, but honestly, I'll probably just use all my Glock mags.
But why would you buy a whole nother pistol if you already have a Glock?
Yeah.
Because I want to be cool and have a 2011.
Well, no, you need that. You need those fast splits with that 2011 trigger. That's what you need.
Because that's the
because you can't achieve that with a Glock.
It's a lot easier with a 2011. A layperson can do it.
My thing is
true.
I've tried, like when I reviewed the Prodigy, although it was also the long slide variant, which I don't like long slide guns really. Like I like the 34, but long slide 1911, 2011s I'm not a fan of. Like my 34, is probably one of my highest round count guns, but I prefer a 17 or like a 45 or something. Is that a 17L? Is that the Gen 5 17L?
Yeah, buddy.
Nice. With an RCR.
Yeah. No, this thing's the goofiest pistol. It's goofy.
Is it like this when you shoot it? It's like a flopping fish?
Kinda, yeah, a little bit. It's actually pretty dang flat, but it cycles so slow, and you can feel how slow it is. It's just like ka-chunk, and then it finally resets.
You need 10 inline ports on that. That's what you need.
Right. So the thing just goes. That'd be fun. I even went as far as to put a tungsten guide rod in this thing, because it totally needed it, right?
Yes.
But no, it's goofy and it's fun.
No, that's a little much for you. The 34 is still pretty long, but the full length Prodigy, I just didn't like the way it shot. And then my buddy has a P, and I shot his P, and it wasn't bad, the Staccato P, but I was like, I couldn't get. And to be fair, I only shot a couple mags, but in those couple mags, and then I picked up my Glock 17. I'm like, I can run this thing so much better. So I want to get a 2011 so I can actually put the time into it, because like at this point, I can run a PDP better than I can run a 2011, just because maybe not that. This thing's pretty shit. But I want to be able to actually run one. The problem is I don't want to put the money of all the magazines. And I was going to get a Platypus back when they first came out, but I was like, the grip texture looks like crap. I want ambi controls. I want better optics cuts, and there's no bull barrel. So I was like, it's probably not going to be great. Then at SHOT Show last year, new grip texture, bull barrel, ambi controls. Perfect. 6-month lead time. I was like, peace out. I'm good. It's just, I don't want to wait 6 months. Like I'll wait 60 days, like that's a lot for me, honestly. I don't like lead times, but not 6 months for, at the end of the day, just a custom pistol. Like I'm not saying it's not worth it. It's just
Platypus is dope. Like I'm really glad that I have it, and it's super awesome. But if you're going to be running it in a duty capacity, the Staccato HD, like that's the way to go.
Plus, I mean, obviously I feel like, can you imagine you get into like a defensive shooting and if you're like pink cotton candy Platypus there for everyone to see?
Yep, your Deadpool Platypus.
Yeah, your Punisher skull Platypus.
Yep.
No one do that, please. I heard there were some like cool Platypuses at SHOT Show, but no like new stuff, right?
Yeah, they had some like bedazzled, like glittered.
Yeah. They had a claw machine, right?
Yeah, the claw machine, that was a huge crowd. There was like a constant line of like 20 people the entire show at that claw machine.
Were they still in the basement or did they move up?
No, the same booth in the basement.
Okay. No, but I mean, was there anything at SHOT Show that like stood out to you beyond the Staccato HD and then I guess the Checkmate mags that like this is really innovative or this is kind of cool or I definitely want to get one?
Yeah, one thing comes to mind: Noise Fighters, sister brand Kiral Defense. He's making two things. One, little backstrap segments for Glocks, PDPs, and like P365 family. And on Glocks, it's like a little cushioned backstrap that makes the Glock grip angle the same as every other grip angle. So there it is on the PDP. that apparently reduces a lot of the muzzle flip that the PDP gets because of the leverage point on it, and that turns the Glock into a 2011 grip angle.
Interesting.
And then on the 43X, it increases trigger reach, so you don't, you're not hooking your finger or too much finger in there. It increases trigger reach so that you can actually shoot it like a normal pistol.
There you go.
Yep. So it increases trigger reach, and that's super dope. And obviously, it saves you from slide bite, which is, if you're not used to shooting Glocks, that could get you. But the big one is that brass chassis that you passed by for the X Macro.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, this thing. There we go. So
when I first saw that, like in your video, I thought that was just a 320 grip module because it's so fucking big.
I know. So basically, it takes the X Macro. It's a weighted brass chassis with a thumb wedge, so like a 2011 safety. And obviously, they have that sandpaper grip texture on there. That with that ported and comped, so it's a ported barrel with the integrally comped slide. That setup, they put a Mantis on it, and it had the same muzzle rise as a Staccato XC in an X Macro with that exact setup.
How many is this? Like 10 ounces?
Oh, it's heavy. Whatever it is. I mean, it felt great in
13
hand.
plus ounce grip sleeve.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
See, it even says at the bottom, any 9mm pistol we have tested, including the Staccato XC and Laugo Arms Alien, easier sight tracking during rapid fire and less felt recoil.
I mean, that's cool. Kind of, I don't want to say janky looking, but
I was gonna say it looks hideous.
It looks like the first Iron Man suit that he built in the cave.
The cave of a box of scraps.
Yep. But I mean, it's effective.
I saw a meme where someone was like, because Staccato's like, oh, we can't make 2011 Glock mags, and someone's like, Stealth Arms did this in a cave of a box of scraps.
Exactly.
But then I guess Staccato responded to that comment and was like, yeah, it was Turkish scraps. And I guess they saying that Stealth Arms is like Turkish parts.
So I have talked to some people at some 2011 manufacturers, and I have heard the same thing: is that its parts are essentially supplied by Turkey,
Gotcha.
and even to the point where some of the Turkish guns will have like airsoft parts on them. So now granted, not like I was shown any evidence. This is just it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we all know what's going on.
But no one can actually prove anything. It's just it's what's said by everyone.
I mean, it's one of those things, it's, people say stuff, right? And granted, it was proven that SIG was sourcing parts from India, MIM parts from India, because it literally said made in India on a few of the packages.
Yes.
But that's one of those things where, a company that claims to be American made is sourcing parts from Turkey. There's no evidence. It's just known among competitors. So it could be BS. It could be truth. There's really no way to know.
Speaking of that, ad playing, but I'll pull the video in a second. One thing we're going to talk about is the 320's latest expose. It's from a channel called Protraband.
He brought receipts.
Well, and so he made a video originally about the 320, which was pretty good. But then this one, honestly, I think is like a whole other level in terms of calling out SIG. Let me pull up my screen. Here we go. So there's the made in India.
Yep.
Made in Korea. Made in India. Made in India. Made in Israel. Made in Israel. You know, the audio of him talking.
So something that a lot of people don't know is, that company Alpha Foxtrot?
Yes.
They're making like the Romulus and stuff.
Yeah.
So their parent company is a South Korean company.
Okay.
And they make OEM 1911 parts for several major manufacturers. Like they won't say who. I'm sure there's NDAs and contracts. They can't say who they supply to, but these are I think specifically like 1911 and 2011 parts. So for American manufacturers of 1911s and 2011s, this South Korean company is supplying the parts, and then they essentially moved to America, created the Alpha Foxtrot brand, and now they're just making their own guns with those parts. So we'll see how that performs, because I'm going to have one on the channel. But
something I almost picked up was their S15 thing.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get them to send me one of those too, because that looks super good. Or super interesting, I should say. I don't know if it looks super good, but it looks interesting. So I know that a lot of these companies, who knows, right, are using those Korean parts, and I'm not saying that those are bad quality, but I mean the Turkish parts are pennies. So the South Korean parts are dollars, as opposed to American parts that are going to be double digits, triple digits. But like, look at how much a Wilson Combat thumb safety costs.
Yeah.
Versus a Korean thumb safety versus a Turkish thumb safety.
Yeah, well, the Turkish are like Mimcast trash half the time.
No, the thing is they're forged, right? But it still has
out
to
of
heat.
pot metal.
Yeah, what steel are they using and how are they heat treating it? And it's mostly the heat treat. Like TSOS had a huge problem where the front fell off. They
So
had
here, Sarah, I'll let you. I'll wait for you to finish, and then I'll play this.
So the stainless steel, they had a stainless steel in 1911 where the front fell off just because the slide was improperly heat treated, and literally like 2/3 of the way up the slide, it would just crack and fall off. Just because even though it's forged, what's the quality of the steel and what's the heat treat process?
Yeah, because someone's like, "Oh my god, it's all forged." So I'm like, "But what is it made out of?" Like, I can forge like melted nickels, and it's not going to work very well.
Yep.
So here is a compilation in his video, and I'll link his video in the description here of this video. Of don't mind me, I'm just dying. Got the Kung Flu, and I didn't even go to SHOT Show. Anyways, compilation of 80s, basically, like non-intentional discharges with 320s in body cams and security video. Gun clearly still in the holster there.
Finger way off the trigger.
Yeah. This guy's stepping out of his car. This was I think, an officer. I think I've seen this video before, but the gun clearly went off in the holster there because they're having like yank it out of the holster.
Yep.
Officer's pistol went off in the holster. Here's this one, which we talked about. Or something, they were like, "Oh, the gun's not fully seated in the holster." So here, let's see. So, and this video is pretty in depth. It's like It's like 2 hours long. But go check out his channel. This is a great breakdown. Like I said, it'll be linked in the description. But I just wanted to show the compilation there. I know we've covered some of those videos before, but I figured it'd be a good thing to wrap on. Is just God, like I'm almost oversaturated at it, like this point. Like I'm almost fatigued talking about the 320. But goddamn, is that thing?
It's killing you. It sounds like it's killing you.
Yes, talking about the 320 is literally killing me, and it might literally kill you if you carry one. And it's SIG's quality control is just trash. Their barrels rotate on their own and move out of alignment on their rifles. The military is having tons of issues with the M17s breaking. Like I feel like every other day I see a post of an M17 grip muzzle which exploded. I don't know. I used to really like SIG, like back in like when the 226 was like their highlighted pistol. I never liked the 320, and I never will. I obviously, you guys all know my experience with the macro. Bought that thing, and SIG told me to go fuck myself when I was having issues with it. So I'm kind of done buying anything SIG related. I almost thought about buying a 320 and trying to like make a video on it somehow, like fixing the 320. But I was like, it's just not worth it. There's no in my luck. The first time I load that thing, it's gonna go off and shoot me in the leg. So.
Speaking of, longtime watchers of the podcast might remember that I used to carry an X Macro. Little update: I finally sold it. Sold it last week, so I am now rid of the macro.
That sucker! He fell for it.
They did. It was only because I included an optic light and a holster. They were like, have to have that. So
yeah.
But now I'm carrying Shadow Systems, so I don't know if I've moved up all that much.
Well, man, How many rounds do you have for that Shadow Systems?
I'm right around 2,500 so far, and I
Okay,
already
so
had to send it in back once already.
Well,
Yeah.
what? This is the CR 920p
XP.
XP. Yeah,
Yep,
the Windows XP.
the Windows XP. But so far it seems to be running great, other than I had to send it in once,
What was that
which
for?
was annoying. It was unfinished from the factory. They didn't like lap the rails where the slide rides on. So
Like
it was
the
just
internal, like the rails on the frame or the rails on the slide?
both. They were like incredibly crunchy, and the gun just did not work. It wouldn't go more than like 2 rounds without some kind of malfunction. So sent it back, and then they fixed it. I got it back, and it kind of fixed. Instead of going 2 rounds without a malfunction, it would then start going 10. Sometimes I'd be able to get a full magazine without any malfunctions. And then I just shot the piss out of it for a good long while, and it seems to kind of broken in, but
It was a
not an
really
experience you want
long
out of a
break-in
brand new
period,
pistol. Yeah, very long break-in
more than
period.
their 200 rounds advertised.
Yep. But I've started carrying that one, and now that I've got a good, now I can go tons of magazines without any malfunctions. I'll actually start to carry it, but still doesn't breed confidence like my stock Glock does. It's
Yeah,
just unfortunate that Glock doesn't have a 15 round capacity slimline. I could really take or leave the compensated thing. It's just the 15 round capacity
Glock 48
slimline.
with PSA micro dagger mags.
Yes, but I tried the shield mags, and now I'm just kind of scared of anything that isn't a stock Glock mag.
I
So
ran the shield mags for like 2 years, and the first ones I bought their mag release, and they were falling out of my gun at the range. Then the other mags, they were just rusted as shit. And then the Gen 2 mags I got with the nickel finish, so they wouldn't rust. I was having issues where sometimes if I had a round in the pipe and it was a full mag, um, and I rack the slide, or no, I'm sorry, if I had a full mag and I went to rack the slide, the round would like nosedive up. So the dagger mags have been totally reliable for me.
These Dagger mags.
I'm gonna die in
I was
this.
waiting.
No, but the dagger mags have been great. I bought two like forever when they first came out. I never used them because I'd already sold my Glock 48. I recently got a new one like late last year, and I've been carrying that because I have my MR920, which was my carry gun, and it works. But I don't know. Like Shadow Systems, like it was cool. Emphasis on was to me. The only thing they have that's nice is if you use it in a self-defense situation, they'll replace it. That's pretty good, I will say. Like if you're poor and you
Isn't
lose
there
your
like a
gun,
cap on that though? Don't they have a cap on how much they'll actually replace it for? 'Cause I
I
think I
don't
heard
know.
somewhere that they did. I don't know. I'll have to look into that a
I
little
don't.
bit, but
I know you'll get a new gun, whether it is the gun you bought or not. I don't know, but from what I was told by their reps, you will get a new gun. But like I had issues, so I had not bought a Shadow Systems. I bought the one I have. Let me see, because I made a video on it. I have to use the old YouTube channel to figure this out. So I got my Shadow Systems back in about a year ago, I think. Let's see, what's the date on this video? Because I made this video pretty quickly after buying it. So May of 2023 is when I got it originally. And then I got an optics cut because I got one of the non-optics cut ones, but I got it at a really good deal. So I was like, I'll just get an optics cut, whatever. Plus, I feel like a lot of the issues from them comes with their modified extractor system. But then, well, before that, when I was at the range one day, there was an event, and one of the Shadow Systems reps, or well, maybe it wasn't even an event. I think a Shadow Systems rep just came to my local range, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to shoot this gun?" I'm like, "Sure." And it was their DR920P, and it wasn't out yet. And that thing was so unreliable. And it was in the frame though. The trigger was just like not resetting properly, and it wasn't working. I remember like it would be like the trigger would get like crunchy and shit. So um, that kind of. I have a buddy who runs Shadow Systems all the time, and he has great experiences. But I also know someone at that same local shop where their gun literally like exploded on them at the range. So it's just Shadow Systems is cool, but I don't know.
I am kind of a fan of Shadow still. I shoot their guns. However, it's difficult because I'm still a Glock guy. I still prefer my Glock to my Shadow. Everyone, when these first came out, they were like, "Oh, dude, it's a Glock killer." Everyone says that about their gun. Everybody, and there has yet to, in my opinion, there has yet to be one that is truthful. And even then, the Glock killers are Glock clones, right? So it's one of them things.
Yeah, but like the only things that I really recommend to people anymore: stock Glock, M&P with an Apex trigger, or spend at least $2K on a quality 2011.
Yeah.
Like that's other than that, you're taking risks, or you're playing around, or you're gonna have to change things. There might be some trial and error, but like those are like the three things. And if you need a tiny like micro 9mm, the best one on the market is still the P365, despite my hangups on it.
I don't know. I can't recommend it anymore to people. There's so many issues I see with those things.
Well, what I say is, are you planning on putting more than like 3,000 rounds through it? And they're like, I'm planning on shooting it once and then just like carrying it. I'm like, okay, then you're fine with the P365. Probably put like a couple hundred rounds through it, including your self-defense ammo, and it's probably fine. But ask any shooting range that has a rental counter around, like how often they have to replace their P365s. The whole P365 family, it is known at gun ranges that have rentals that those things need to be swapped out all the time. They're always going down to the point where one of my local ranges literally does not even have them for rent anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like honestly, I will say, while I think it's a mediocre gun, the Hellcat honestly is not bad.
Oh, it's not. That's the thing, though. It's not bad. It doesn't really excel
It's
at
reliable
anything.
and it shoots. I've never shot one of the full size ones or like the bigger ones.
The Pro.
I have one of the OG Hellcats. I still put rounds through it occasionally. It works. I hate shooting it, but it works. Like I can't say it doesn't. So if you want a small, occasionally I carry it when I need something really small. Hell, I have my, I don't know where it is. Actually, no, it's in my my gun storage area. But my 26 I've started carrying again occasionally sometimes. It conceals very well. I have a +3 base pad on there that's super small, so it's 13 rounds. I have one of the T1C M holsters, so it's like the single clip from Tier 1 concealed. You just pop on, works fine. Like when someone's like, I want a really small gun, I'm like, honestly, at this point, I recommend if you want a really small gun, like especially like if you're a woman that wants a small gun, I recommend this because it's not a lot of recoil for a small gun.
I agree.
I actually took a lady out shooting not too long ago, and she's gone shooting one other time before with me, and she could not shoot. I took her to shoot like my 34 and some other guns that are easy to shoot, but with her hands, she couldn't grab it very well, and the gun was kind of heavy for her. So this, while it was a little snappier than the full-size guns, she shot it very well because it's very small, very low bore axis, and it's 380. So this is kind of becoming my go-to recommendation for a carry gun for someone who doesn't want to take a lot, is not a super big training person. But you can honestly train with this, like especially the 12-round mags. This thing works, and there's already a lot of holster support and stuff for this, so that's already good to go. Honestly, I think this is if someone wants a gun just to carry for self-defense. In fact, I have a family member that they had they've tried a bunch of different guns. They've tried 2011s, little micro striker guns, and they ended up going to this thing because it was small, it was easy to carry, because otherwise they wouldn't carry the gun. So this way they're actually carrying something.
My only hesitancy recommending something like that is I always put an asterisk next to it and say, run 100 rounds through it and a couple mags of your carry ammo. Because if I recommend a stock Glock, like it's going to run. If I recommend like an M&P 2.0, there's 99% chance the thing is going to run. If I recommend a staccato or a bullet armory, 98% chance that's going to run.
Yeah.
But anything else like my Shield Plus, the monolithic round, the Shield Plus
Underwood rounds there, buddy.
The Shield Plus that I had, like the trigger pin was walking out all the time, and it would not cycle if you had a fully loaded 13-round mag and topped it off, like chambered it and topped it off. It would malfunction every single time. So that's why on like anything like that, Shield Plus, Bodyguard 2.0, you can't just take it out of the box and trust your life with it.
So I will say a sample size of 2, and obviously I have LARP's experience and a couple other people, but I have 2 of these. My other one's somewhere else. I think it's actually loaded somewhere. Anyways, this guy, only issue I had is flat, like wad cutter, basically 380. Does not feed reliably in here. No issue with my defensive ammo, which is the Underwood. I think these are 82 grain or 70. So I don't know, something. But the Underwood ammo, no issues. But flat, like we had some of this Fiocchi, like super flat 380. It did not want to feed with this. Like it would just get stuck. Because the thing is, I don't know if you're going to see it. The feed ramp is actually broken in half. So when I close the slide, the top of the feed ramp actually, like the top of the barrel, is not connected to the feed ramp fully. So I think flat ammo gets hung up there because of that. That and some of the front sights are off out of the box. And you might have to fix that. That you can pretty easily look and see and tell, I feel, and shoot it like at least a couple times and see if it runs, and just make sure whatever ammo you have runs in it. Otherwise, I've had no issues with it.
You sound like a commenter on my channel. This is my favorite gun. All you have to do is pound the front sight into place and not shoot this type of ammo, and it's great.
Well, to be fair, I know I'm kind of defending it, but with a gun this small, there is some geometric designs that kind of had to happen of having the 2-part feed ramp. So it makes sense it's not going to shoot flat face ammo.
Yeah.
Which it's not a huge deal because you can find round tip 380. Like it's not, it still shoots defensive ammo.
But the thing is, like, explain that to someone who's never had a gun before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if it's defensive rounds, it's gonna like, I would just recommend this Underwood to them. I'll be like, just buy this ammo.
Yeah, but again, for someone who's never seen a gun in their life, telling them to go to underwoodammo.com, get this grain of this bolt, like it's a lot. It's overwhelming. And they just won't.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's why you kind of have to help them. But I think I will say actually the other thing, the 12-round mags, there's a little plastic piece that would like protrude down on these and would get jammed up on the actual notch here when you load the mags. My solution to that was literally jamming the rounds in and break the little plastic piece off. So I actually forgot about that. I just remember that.
This is the best gun. All you have to do is break off a piece of the follower on the magazine.
Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find
it's the best gun out there.
Because I have the video because I'm actually working on my review of this. I want to put just more rounds to this because I want to get closer to 2,000. I'm at probably about 1,000, but it's just I don't buy.
And we lost him.
Buy a lot of
freeze
frame.
frame.
That's a beautiful freeze frame.
I noticed all of a sudden I lost connection, but I don't know what you guys saw on your end. But anyways, my point is I want to put some more rounds through it, get closer to 2,000, but I just don't buy a lot of 380. So versus 9mm, like I kind of wish they made this in 9mm. I don't know how it would shoot, but I kind of wish they did just because. Let me find it. It should be rough.
If that was a 9mm, it would shoot itself to death is what it would do.
Probably.
Do we have another freeze frame?
I think so.
Start rolling credits over,
right.
over his face.
Here we go. Present. Am I still glitching out?
No, you're back.
Okay. I think it's because I'm accessing one of my other hard drives. My computer's having an aneurysm about it.
It's because you're in your mom's basement and the router's down there, and
probably. Let's see here.
Yeah.
So if you notice right here already, there's this little piece of plastic right by that other box of 380.
Yeah.
On the ground, that little orange piece. That's from one of the other magazines. And then, so let's see. I think you'll see it here. So I'm going to try and, basically going to force it down until a piece of plastic breaks off.
Nice.
It does fix it after that. Then it's good to go. I think it's like a manufacturing defect or something.
Well, that's what I like in the pistol I choose to defend my life with is manufacturing defects. That's what I look for.
Just only use the 10-round mags, man. It's fine. Like,
Yeah, there you go.
Look, if you buy this pistol, just make sure you use this ammo. Check your front sight for front sight drift, and make sure that you break off a piece of plastic in your magazines, and you're perfect. No, I know it has some quirks to it, but for something of I want a really small, slim gun that doesn't shoot like shit and has a nice trigger, this is the only gun in that category I have found.
It does shoot. It does
the
shoot
original
nice.
bodyguard, all those things. I hate the triggers. This has a really nice trigger for a small little gun. Other than the reset, the reset's kind of ass. But
has a great trigger, except for the reset. Great trigger,
but it's better than a double action only trigger.
I mean, my ankle gun and pocket gun that's a 380 is an OG like 2006 manufactured Ruger LCP, and that thing will run every ammo.
Yeah, but the trigger's probably shit.
But what's the capacity? How much does that little LCP hold?
Like I think 7+1 with the pinky extended. So like 6+1 flush.
But we've got 10+1 right here.
+1 flush and 12+1 with the pinky
That's what
But you just gotta hammer the front sight, break the magazine.
Only use certain ammo. I mean, but other than that, compared to every other brand new gun that comes out that has like 300 issues, limited amount of issues for a brand new gun.
Well, the thing is,
it only costs like $100 more than your LCP.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is there are so few options out there for reliable, like small 380s. Because the new Ruger stuff, I would never carry a new Ruger manufactured LCP or LCP2 or any of that stuff.
Anything new
ever.
Ruger.
No, but like the old Prescott made LCPs run, but I would never carry a new one. That's kind of the best game in town, despite its quirks. So it is what it is.
No, I think there's so many guns out there, but like some of them like CZs, I have no issues with CZs. Like the P10C, it's a good option. The P07, but also,
Well, yeah, and I mean it's the same thing with the Hellcat, right? Is it just like it seems like no one is excited to own the thing, unless they're coping, right? Like it's the only gun they can afford. It's what they chose because Such told them it was the best, and it was the one Such video they watched, so they didn't see that everything was the best. And they get really excited and they get the Hellcat, and then it's just kind of a cope. And the thing is, it is reliable, it is accurate, it does shoot, it checks the boxes, but no one's excited to have it. There's not a lot of pride of ownership there versus like look at Glock guys, right? Look at even HK guys, and they even admit all the faults. Yeah, we know all about that. Look at M&P guys. Yeah, look at M&P guys, and then you have the masses that like the 320 guys, but the like Hellcat, the XDs,
even like the Echelon.
Yeah, Echelon, and even CZs, as great as they are, I love CZs. It's very rare to find someone nowadays who's actually carrying one.
Yeah, that was actually my first carry gun was a P07.
And P07's a great gun.
I carried it I owned it for maybe a year, if that. Like, but I think within like a month of carrying it, I think I got a Glock 19.
Yeah,
because I remember I got it. I went to a class in Tennessee, actually a James Yeager class.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. There was some weird stuff that happened in that class. Anyways, went to a James Yeager, like, this does not sound believable. I have pictures of me shooting downrange, pictures being taken downrange, because one of the instructors, I went with my father, one of the instructors took my father's phone and went downrange and stood next to my target. No cap, as the kids would say. And I was like, I met you 2 days ago, man, and you trust that I will hit this target next to you and not you, nor the person shooting next to me will not shoot you. Like, I don't know if he had a death wish, maybe he had cancer, like, I don't know, but that to me was, especially looking back now, what I know, like, I had very limited knowledge back then. This was this was a long time ago, actually. Now I'm like, holy shit, that is the most unsafe thing I've ever seen. Anyways, point being, I shot the P07 through that class. My father had a Glock. And I was like, I kind of like this Glock thing a little better. So I think a month or two after that class, I ended up buying a Glock. And I was like, I like this better. And so then I just started training on Glocks. And now I'm, years and years and years on Glocks. And I ended up selling the P07 to a buddy of mine. So if I want to visit it, I can go visit it sometimes. But I don't know. I don't know if guns bore me now. Like I am kind of excited for the staccato. So finally my love of guns has been reignited. So maybe I've been hating myself and bored. So that's why I've been putting money into a gun I know will go nowhere. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of options out there, but there's really only few that are like exemplary.
Yeah, I mean, like my big one right now is like if you don't want to spend $2,000 on a 2011 M&P with an Apex trigger, like that's just what I recommend. I'm like, buy an M&P, buy an Apex trigger, and like if you're new, take it to a gunsmith that does that, and then you're literally say you can go as far as you want with that gun. Like you can compete with it, you can carry it with confidence, you can improve your skills, take it to classes, and you're going to be in really good shape with that gun.
You can do monsoon tactical porting to it.
Oh yeah, Lucky Sevens. And that's the thing is, I wish that Smith and Wesson and Apex could just collaborate because that would be the best factory offering on the market. Would be.
I will say that's what interested me the most about this was the fact that you have a OEM company teaming up with a aftermarket parts manufacturer like PMM, like a reputable, well-known. I would love to see more companies do that.
Yep.
Instead of a company trying to reinvent the wheel. Like I'm sure Walther saved so much money doing this because they had no R&D, nothing. It already existed. Because that's the thing. Not only is there the cost of the product, but there's the R&D, the research, the manufacturing, the tooling, all this stuff that has to come to make something small like a compensator. So the fact that we're seeing companies team up, like Springfield teaming up with Agency Arms. I will say the only thing I like about the Chimera is that it has the Agency Arms optic system on it.
Yeah, it's the best part of the gun.
That's the best part of the gun, which like I would, you know what Glock should do for the Gen 6? Just team up with Agency Arms and have the AOS system on the Gen 6 Glock. Bam. You've fixed the MOS system.
Yeah, but that cuts into their bottom line.
Yeah.
So that's just not going to happen.
But I think that's the future of the gun industry, honestly, is partnering with, not like completely, but partnering with other brands, like aftermarket companies that already make a good product. Like M&P, if they just, instead of making their stupid steel frame that has like the weirdest, longest name in the world, partner with Apex instead of these stupid blued parts and just put an Apex trigger in it.
Yeah. Well, now that we're on companies partnering, I'm amazed we've gone an hour and 46 minutes without bringing up the Aimpoint Koa.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's right. We did have a company. I forgot about that ugly thing. It's interesting. I like the idea of how it mounts. I don't like the fact you're stuck with that rear sight. I don't like the price.
But
actually
it's
isn't
new
too bad.
and it's
It's like
innovative.
$1,000 for one, which isn't too bad actually. That's basically the price of a P2 and a Glock.
So I shot it, and I think anyone buying into the hype would think it was really cool. But if you can not be emotional and step back for a minute, it's a Glock with a red dot on it.
Oh,
Like
100%.
like what's wrong with getting like a HoloSun EPS and a calculated kinetics plate and just popping it on an MOS? It's like I get it that the way that Aimpoint COA mounts is brilliant. It's simple. It's efficient. It's awesome. I want the future of mounting dots to move in a direction like that. But it's hard to get excited about it in its current state because it's just a red dot on a Glock. That's what it is.
100%.
For us guys that have a million guns with red dots on it, like it's nothing exciting. But I do think it is kind of neat as a turnkey option. You can get a Glock with a red dot that you don't have to worry about, which plate do I need? Oh, which red dot do I need?
Yeah.
Like it's a turnkey, out of the box, like ready to go kind of thing. And then your only option, like your only other next question is what light, if you're going to do a light, and what holster.
Yeah, and the dot's closed emitter. So if you are new and you're getting a carry gun, like you don't have to worry about lint in the open emitter. It's an easy, like you said, turnkey. Here you go. You can just run and gun with this thing.
So I don't have an Aimpoint Koa, obviously, but this is the SCS carry, or not the SCS carry, the SCS MOS. And what I like is it direct bolts into the MOS. Like I like optic systems that direct bolt into the slide instead of like plates and adapters and stuff. Like I hate optic plates. Like I like the host system that Staccato is going to, because while it is a plate, it's more like an alignment plate, kind of like the bow system.
Yeah.
From Bull Armory. There's systems like that, right? Where it aligns the holes. It doesn't necessarily give like a secondary set of holes to screw into.
Right.
So I think we're seeing optic systems starting to get better, or the integrated thing like the Primary Arms HTX1, where it's like that optics chassis system. where it's an enclosed emitter, but it has like it mounts the chassis, and then like there's like 4 bolts that bolt into itself, so you don't have any shearing.
Yeah.
The Koa is interesting. I like Larp was saying, it is that turnkey thing. I can just buy the gun for $1,000. I have an optic. I have the gun. It mounts in pretty cool. I will say the only issue is if those screws come loose, you lost your rear sight and your optic.
My big thing is, how is the dot going to perform in adverse conditions? Like I think we all remember the P1, the Acro P1, battery life, all that kind of stuff, and the Acro P2, water being able to get into it, moisture being able to get into it. So is the Koa going to perform to the standards that we would expect from a company like Aimpoint? Or is it going to perform
Or is it going to
similarly?
perform to the standards of a company we expect, like Aimpoint?
Aimpoint, exactly. So that's my only thing right now. Is the mounting system is, like I said, simple, brilliant. The future of optic mounting systems, but how is the optic itself?
Yeah, like I'm trying also to go more American made for stuff, or at least like I don't know. I'm conflicted. Like I mean, I have a bunch of Holosuns. Like this Holosun I've had for a long time. This one I got a little more recently. But most of my Holosuns and stuff, like the most recent optic I got was the lead and steel PB3 that they sent to me. I just actually finished my review on that. It survived 2,000 rounds, no problem, and even being in the freezer, so no moisture issues. But a little spoiler there. But the thing is, there is something about going to like American companies, American made products, like that Primary Arms HTX1. I want to pick one up, even though it's gonna be like $700. It compared to like an RCR. How much was an RCR for you, Larp?
It was like 800.
Okay, so really not that bad compared to like a Trijicon, and it's another American made company and a closed emitter, and kind of innovative in the way it works. So that's the thing I do like about these companies starting to go American made on stuff, or like Cloud Defensive. Their new light MSRP is supposed to be like $269, all American made, really nice switches, really good output and stuff. So I like that there's these smaller companies that are starting to pop up that are still having the quality, the American made stuff, but challenging companies like Surefire or Trijicon or something that's kind of sat on their ass for a long time. And they're like the turbo was cool, but I feel like it was more candela than you needed and not enough lumens for a duty light or a handgun light. So I do like to see that these other companies are kind of pushing the American-made companies, or being American-made and pushing the American-made companies.
Right now, I'm just waiting for competition to the Holosun 507 comp, because for red dots, I look for does it move the needle as far as actual shooting performance, right? And window size does move the needle,
Yes.
but it's a balance between, is this window too big to conceal, or is it too big, or is it not durable enough? And the 507 comp, it's like 507 comp, 507 comp, 507 comp, 507 comp. And that's the thing, is these things are affordable, so I can put them on a lot of guns without having to drop $800 per dot for a Trijicon. And so we're looking at price, durability, and moving the needle for actual shooting performance. And having a big window does move the needle, especially when you're shooting really fast from concealment or from weird positions, prone on your side, from your back, wherever. Like window size does move the needle for performance, and I'm waiting for something to outdo that. The only thing is just durability on the front of the lens. If you rack it off of something that's like metal, like a steel bar, plate rack, something like that.
Just get the Staccato HD, problem solved.
Exactly. Just put a iron sight in front of it and you're done.
Yeah, like the lead and steel PB3, which is on a Glock over there. I'm too lazy to get up and get it. It has a bigger window for like an enclosed emitter. Like it's still an enclosed emitter, but it's a bigger window than like the Aimpoint or like the 509T or the EPS or anything. Even if this optic might listen in on me and steal my data, there is the idea that this does perform well. It is affordable. I think I actually got this as a replacement when one of my 507Cs died, but so I don't actually know how much it costs. But this actually has a pretty small window.
Yeah.
But even then, it does the job, and it has innovative technology, right? This thing auto-adjusts. There's no batteries to change. It directly mounts the MOS system. So this was innovative in many ways, which is what interested me in it. The original 507C, sorry, I'm sorry. The original 507C, this I've had and put on a ton of different guns. This kind of moves from gun to gun when I look at a different gun. This thing is held up for a long time. It's the window size is big enough I'd say not as big as I'd like, but big enough, and it performs and it's durable.
That's what she said.
I normally don't get to hear that, so thank you. But no, I don't know. I don't know if I just don't get excited about stuff as much as I do anymore. But I think from kind of bringing back to the beginning of the show today of the second Trump administration, bringing it with the tariffs and bringing back American-made manufacturing, I think we have to also do our part as consumers. I'm not trying to shame anyone. Like I own mostly HoloSuns. I might have one American-made optic, if that. Right, like I own pretty much just HoloSuns. I have Vortex, which that's not even American made. So Kyle is doing it for the rest of us.
See, I had all that stuff that LARP has, except I just sold it, and I sell one of those, and I can buy like 2 HoloSuns. So I'm able to. I mean, I had RCRs, RMR HDs. I now have one SRO left, and to me, like the RMR HD is my favorite one. But the overhang is a deal breaker for me after I saw one choke on the overhang on a buddy's gun at the range. Well, not a buddy, but at the range, someone the range over had a choke, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh man, that's even there's a 1 in a million chance that that's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. So that's why I think something like the Staccato HD, where there's no overhang with the RMR HD, that's a combination that's almost impossible to beat. American-made gun, American-made optic, and the downsides that are normally present with the optic are not there. But my favorite closed emitter is the RCR. I love that thing. Great window size. It is bomb-proof.
Absolutely. I used to be a big aim point guy, and
it blows the aim point out of the water.
It totally does. Totally does. Especially so when I started with red dots, because before I was an iron sight guy. When I first got into red dots, my first red dot was the RMR, just like everybody else, right?
Yep.
And this just like feels like home again. I feel like I'm home. But I was gonna say, with that trade-off of like durability versus window size, the bigger in window we go, the less durable we typically are. How long until we just have like Mad Max, like metal cages around our optics?
What I'm waiting for, this is the future, is going to be a windowless optic.
Like
it'll be a projected dot. So then it's infinite durability.
Like the optics from like Black Ops 3 or whatever.
Yep. Now, granted, that's probably like 20 or 30 years away, but I think that's the direction we're headed in, is infinite window size, infinite durability.
I do like the trend that the COAS is starting of a gun coming with an optic that's actually good. Because we saw that before.
Well, it might be good. We'll see.
Probably. It'll probably
on paper,
be good. As opposed to like Springfield did it first that I know of with their hex optics. They're complete, utter dog shit to the highest order.
Yeah, the mechanic with the mechanic sight, terrible.
Forgot that was a thing.
Yep.
No, but every other included optic out of the box on a gun has been complete garbage.
Yeah.
So this could be the turning point in that for other companies to see, hey, if we include a good optic on the gun out of the box, because there are some companies that you can buy HoloSuns on the gun out of the box. In fact, I think the new VP9 and the CC9, you can get HoloSuns on it out of the box.
Correct.
You can get a 47C, or you can get the SCS for the VP9 out of the box, which that's pretty. I like that. I like that you're seeing that. I like that companies are moving to the optics are the now, they're not the future. But we are reaching 2 hours here, so I think we should try and wrap it up. Anyone have any closing thoughts? What do you see is going to be the future of the firearms industry with SHOT Show and politics and everything going on? Brett, you go first.
That's a broad question. Give me something a little more specific.
Like, what do you think is going to be the next innovation we're going to see? Like, what's the next innovation you want to see or that we think you're going to see?
Yeah, I think just blending the classic 1911 design with duty, rugged reliability. Like, I'm talking bomb-proof without having to worry about maintenance, which is the direction that Staccato is pushing for. External extractor, grip safety delete, Glock magazines, all that kind of stuff. I think that Staccato is making moves. I think they did as much research as Gaston Glock did when he invented the original Glock. I think that Staccato did that kind of research, that kind of R&D, and that's why they're making this move in this direction. So I really do think the Staccato HD is the first step in kind of blending the best of all worlds and I think that applies across the industry. It's going to be mixing essentially precision competition with duty and durability.
LARP?
Yeah, I don't know what the future holds. If I had to guess, it's probably going to continue to be the Glock 17 for a good while. For a lot of reasons,
It's the
price point
Glock
and stuff.
47 now.
Or the 47
Yeah.
now, yeah. It's just like Apple. It's the next iPhone, but it's the same thing but different name. What I would love to see, because like we have seen some innovation with like the Koa and the Staccato HD and those kinds of things, but it's a lot of the same stuff, just a slightly different flavor. Like it's still 9mm pistol. It's a 9mm pistol that shoots, right? But 9mm has kind of been stagnant for a long time and likely will be for the future. I remember a few years back, we had some weird new cartridges for pistols. Like we had the what was it, like the 30 super
38
carry,
super carries.
30 super carry.
And the 7.5 Bruno to
Yeah, and that's where I was going
the
with this,
super
was
carry-
the 7.5
The
FK.
super carry died so fast.
It died fast. And I mean, so did the 7.5 FK because it's insanely expensive, which everyone knew it would
It was
be.
just a meme gun.
I have one and I love it. But I wish that we had 7.5 FK like lethality and capability and capacity, because it's still high capacity for like 9mm prices. I wish that was the future that we had. It's not gonna be, but boy howdy, I can dream.
So you're saying the price of the gun or the price of the ammo?
Ammo, like 9mm
How
ammo
much does
price.
7.5 cost?
It's almost like $2 around, somewhere in there. It's a pretty penny.
No, you see, we've had the future for a long time. It was just ahead of its time. It's 50 Action Express, and we need to put it in a smaller gun. We need to discover like some sort of meteorite.
So I'll
that
put
can-
it.
Yeah.
The gun will just explode. Float around in.
I mean, it's just like with O-Lights, just a little handheld frag grenade.
An O-Light has this is the worst thing at SHOT Show. Anything from the O-Light booth.
Yep.
They haven't enclosed them in or now. I'm like, no one wants your sights, guys.
Honestly, the future that I want to see is unfortunately restricted by the NFA. Like imagine these comped ported 9mm pistols, select fire, like 2-round burst.
Yes. Like a
3-round
full auto
burst.
XC.
Yeah, well, it's like imagine a Staccato XC with just a 2-round burst, right? Where literally those 2 rounds would go in the same hole, just heavily comped, sprung right. You're increasing lethality with that. That's the future that I would love to see. But unfortunately,
did you shoot the TAC comp at SHOT Show?
No. That was a prototype was available to shoot last year at GunCon, and I wasn't there.
Gotcha.
So
I don't know.
First one
how flat does that thing shoot? Flatter than the XD, from what you've heard?
From what I've heard, it's really close. It might have the edge. Honestly, the TAC Pro might even shoot better than the XC, depending on how it's sprung.
And that's the 5-inch with the ports, right?
5-inch with the ports shoots either as well or for sure as well, maybe even slightly better than the XC, depending on the ammo and depending how the guns are sprung.
Yeah, because I imagine you take the TAC comp or something like that and make it full auto.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me pull the safety down one more notch.
Yep.
So no, that'd be cool. I would love to see. I think like the next iteration would just be. I want to see some actual innovation in firearms, perhaps, or maybe just simply a company that actually takes the consumer and not just the average consumer, but forces the average consumer to use the products of like a higher tier shooter. Like the average consumer wants the soft grip texture for their supple skin. The average consumer doesn't care about having texture higher up. The average consumer just doesn't think about things like their optic system. Like I feel like the thing that's honestly pushed guns to improve is the higher end consumer. I don't mean like you're an operator or something, but you're just someone who actually shoots consistently. So I'd like to see that push to continue, where instead of getting a Walther PDPs, we get Staccato HDs, where we get guns that actually perform. They don't just have performance in the name and therefore they're performing guns, but they're actual performing guns. And it's not just hype and marketing and media, but it's people actually caring about how a gun shoots and how reliable it is. And that, I think, is a culture shift. That's not just going to be a product shift, obviously. But I think when we can have that, that's when I think we'll truly see innovation. I think we see it every now and then, or companies try it. I think the Staccato HD is the closest I've seen to that, where this is truly a gun designed around performance and not just around, putting performance in the name or sourcing your parts from India like a SIG. So that's what I want to see. I want to see guns designed for shooters, not designed for marketing.
Solid.
All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up. Brett, where can people find you, subscribe to you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Nightwood Guns on YouTube. It's everything you need to know because I talk about everything else on there.
Perfect. And LARP, if people want to follow you, if you want them to follow you.
Don't follow me, but if you really, really want to, at Larperatorkid on Instagram.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I know this was a long one. I know we kind of went off on some tangents and stuff, but we always do anyways. So we are bringing the podcast back. I'm hoping to make the recordings a little more frequent, a little more regular to get you guys these conversations and maybe some more live recordings as well so you guys can interact. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to see and like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned.